Good afternoon. Today is the 12th of August. I apologise if the light levels are bad today. Normally when I do one of these opinion pieces, shall we say, I do it from a static position because it's easier to remember things if I have some kind of information in front of me. However, because it's so utterly ridiculously hot at the moment, it's probably 33-34 degrees in Hampshire at the moment, I simply can't sit in the car and boil and also have the phone overheat whilst I'm recording it. So I'm going to try recording it like this, which you might like, you might not like. I'm sorry, that's the way that it's going to have to be. But we do get a bit of V6 action as well, so the light levels might vary. It might be annoying. The camera might shake up and down, and there's not an awful lot I can do about that, I'm afraid. But today's topic I want to talk about is something that one of my viewers mentioned recently, which is the compulsory introduction of speed limiters in all cars in the European Union, and actually I think this probably will mean the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. Whether we actually eventually do leave the European Union or not, I think we're going to have to live with this, because the British market is just a small part of the world economy, and it's very unlikely that they will specially manufacture cars just for us without speed limiters, if that's what's going to be coming in. So I think all new cars are going to be fitted with speed limiting devices by 2022, and we're going to have to live with that. At the moment there are a number of cars which do kind of have these fitted already, but they're not quite what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a system by which the car knows what the speed limit is where you are, and you physically can't push the car any faster than that speed limit unless you actually override the system by pushing the accelerator pedal harder. Now, there are three ways I think this is going to work. The first way is that simply the car reads speed limits from traffic signs, and that is a system called traffic sign recognition. It's been around for quite a while, and in my SsangYong, that's what I have. I have traffic sign recognition already, and it will determine what speed that the car should be going from reading the road signs. It's simple enough, really. It's not a foolproof system. Sometimes it will read, in my car anyway, the wrong speed. It'll read it from somewhere else, and it'll tell you that the speed is not what it should be. Second way it might be is that, rather like in the sat-nav system that I have in the SsangYong, it will actually know what the speed limit is from a database, and in that particular case that would be from the memory card that's in the sat-nav. It will tell you what speed the road should be. Again, that is actually a bit flawed, because say you're going on the Newbury bypass at the moment, which is in Berkshire, the A34. The A34 Newbury bypass at the moment has a temporary set of roadworks on it, and that is a 50 mile an hour limit, not a 70 mile an hour limit. So you can be going along on the Newbury bypass with the sat-nav on, and it will tell you that the speed limit is 70, when actually it's 50. So again, that is something which is a little bit on the flawed side. So those two systems, that one of those I think, which is the one with built-in information from memory card and the sat-nav, that's the more likely one of the two, I think. However, the one I think might work is the Google Maps system, which actually takes information not just from the GPS, as the second one obviously does anyway, but also from the internet via 4G. And there's somebody, excuse me a minute, but an ambulance, so I'll let them off there. So it takes the information on Google Maps, when it shows you the speed, from the database that Google have on the internet. They have a database of all the places which have roads in this country and all the speed limits, and they obviously can alter that live, because you're using data from the mobile phone network to get that information. So I think that's what they're most likely to introduce. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but it's only 2 years before that becomes compulsory for all new cars. What I'm more interested in really is whether or not this is a good idea, and I'm not so sure. If you are someone who just constantly overrides this by flicking your foot a bit harder, like kick down an automatic, to get rid of the speed limit, then that is completely useless. Do we really need a system which limits us in that way? I mean, sure, it might be a bit like, I don't know, cruise control or something, or a speed limiter that a lot of cars have these days anyway, which is that you can set a speed limit within the car's chip computer, effectively. Same way that you use for cruise control, you can set a speed limit to, say, 70 miles an hour to prevent somebody who, is a young driver from going too fast on a motorway. You can do all that. I don't know that, for example, the Skoda Fabia has a system like that built into most of the mid-range models and above. However, is it really necessary to have this system? Surely you should be, enough of a driver to be able to read the road signs around you, to know the speed limit is 70 miles an hour on a motorway, unless you see the sign which suggests otherwise. You should be able to know that in an urban area with lampposts, unless you see otherwise, the speed limit is 30 miles per hour. You should really know this. So, do you actually even need the speed limiter thing at all? Given that you can override it, you can just press your foot a bit harder on the accelerator and override it. Do you really need that? Also, the information is sometimes flawed. Even with Google Maps, I've been in many situations where they've not updated the speed limit in the area correctly, and so they still think roadworks are there months after they've gone. So it'll say that you are exceeding the speed limit by 20 miles per hour because you're on a motorway and you're doing 70, and there was a sort of roadworks there with a 50 mile an hour limit, and that's gone. So I'm not really convinced this is something we really need. It's something that the European legislation says that the European Union needs, and by extension, whether or not we are within the European Union, we're not going to get manufacturers who make us special cars without the speed limiters. We're just going to introduce them all because it's easier to do that. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on all this, because it is a topic that I think is quite controversial. I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware that this is going to happen. It's rather like the breathalyzer law, which I'm not sure when that will actually happen now. It was supposed to be 2024, but I haven't heard much about it from the video that I did about it last year. So if you do know more about this, I think I've covered pretty much all the bases. The 3 systems that they might use for making sure that the car is within the right speed limit for the area it's travelling in. I think we've sort of covered some of my feelings about this. But what are your feelings about this? Do you think this is a good idea? I suspect many of you don't. So I know what the opinions are on the channel about this sort of stuff. This Rover, of course, it's not going to have a compulsory speed limiting system fitted to it, and neither is that nice 2004 facelift MG-ZR that somebody just flashed me about, and I forgot to flash my headlights at because I don't know, I trying to record a video at the same time. So anyway, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more pieces of opinionated nonsense. Don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below, and also you can visit my Facebook page, facebook.com /Lloyd Vehicle Consulting.